Welcome to another March of the Machine draft. Taking a look at our first pick, we have Zimone and Dina, which whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Then you can sack another creature and draw a card, put a land on the card from your hand onto the battlefield. Tapped, if you control 8 or more lands, you can repeat this process once. This is a very strong card if you can build around it. It's also just a 3 mana 3/4. The other thing I think is that green, blue, and black are my 3 favourite colours in the format. I find splashing quite easy. There's also Furnace Rains, Harried Artisan, and Volcanic Spite in red, which I think are all quite good in red, but red I think is potentially the weakest colour. There's also Tangled the Skyline, which is very good, and I think probably the more considered pick, the better pick if you were, for example, drafting in the Arena Open. But here, we're just going to take the Mythic Rare, hope to wield this Dismal Backwater, and go from there. It's not very often you get to play with these Mythic cards, and it's good to sometimes pick them up just to see how they play. Now we have an interesting next pick. There's another Volcanic Spite and a Cosmic Hunger. There's also an Elvish Vat Keeper, an Invasion of Perulia, which I quite like this card. And then there's an Izumi Rat Informant, the Scornblade Berserker as well. I think here, however, taking the monocoloured card, it's just going to keep our options a little bit more open at this point. Both these cards are strong, but Cosmic Hunger is an effect that's less replaceable. We also don't know what our second colour, like what our base colours are going to be, and whether it's going to be green-blue or green-black, and this allows us to take this, and there's actually a chance that one of these may actually wheel. Also Furja, Judge of Valor, which if we end up in green-black, we may be able to splash this as well. So we may wheel something powerful out of this pack, and we're just getting an efficient green 2-power removal spell. Now we have Invasion of Asgol, which is fine. There's Mirror Shield Hoplite, which is quite good, but not the pick here after we've taken a green and a black, green, and blue card. We can't really take a red and white card. I like War Historian and I like Expedition Lookout, but I think we're just going to take Tetsuko here. It's a 1/3, and creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. It's good to get this early in the draft because you can then start to prioritize cards that work with it. There's a 3/1 in green that works quite well with this, and there's just a lot of 1/1s in the set as well. Now, the best card in the pack I think is Merciless Repurposing here. There's also the Forest Cycler, the Dual Land, and the Realm Breaker's Grasp. Rave is also is good. Drink is fine. I think here we're just going to take the Repurposing. It's the best card in the pack. We're still not tied to green. We could be blue-black, for example, and splash the Zimone and Dina. Drinker actually works quite well with Zimone and Dina, as it gives you 2 sacrifice bodies for it. But here, I think I'm going to take the 2-for-1 removal spell that just kills anything. Now we have a 2/1 here with backup and Death Touch. I don't think that's going to be the pick. We have Invasion of Muruganda, which is a fine removal spell, but it's a 6 defender battle. There's also Eyes of Gataxia here as well, which I quite like in blue. We also have the Sculpted Perfection. So our options are I think Sculpted Perfection is probably the best card in the pack. Invasion of Muruganda I haven't had the opportunity to play with. It's going to be good if you've got big creatures. It's at the high risk of being blown out if they're not tapped out. Eyes of Gataxia is solid, but here I think we're just going to take the Invasion, potentially just to cut green. So now we have a pick between Storm the Seed Core, which we don't look to be a super aggressive deck yet, and these cheap green cards, or the Dual Land. Now, given we've taken a 3-color card, a blue card, 2 green cards, and a black card, this is an on-color duel for us. We're very, very likely to play it. I also think the 5-color deck is very viable in this set, and essentially the pick order you want is to pick up the fixing and the premium removal spells, and then set yourself up to take the bombs. So we can take the tap land here and potentially keep ourselves open to going down that path if it presents itself to us. And now, I think here we've got 3 strong black cards in the pack. Nezumi Informant, Vanquish the Weak, and then Scornblade Berserker as well. I like the Scornblade Berserker here, We can potentially wheel the Ica Drinker. I really like the Rat Informant as well. But here I think we're just going to start by taking the 0-1. Also a potential argument to take the dual land here, but I think given we've got the repurposing, the Zamona and Dina, and the backwater, I think the Berserker is going to be the pick here. Although last minute, I think I'm going to just pivot to the Informant. I think that the Berserker is very good in black-red when you're going to be able to prioritize a lot of things to sacrifice. But here we already have one of our sacrifice engines, and I don't know how much blue-black and green-black really focus in on that sacrifice outlet. So that's why I've taken the body to sacrifice. It's also an efficient removal spell. Also makes them discard a card. It's just an efficient card. Now we get to pick 8, Aspheria's Dispersal. I think this is the second best blue common after Preening Champion. So we're certainly happy to see that there. Now, Furnace Rains is wheeled. That could be a sign that red's open, but I think after this, we can't necessarily take it. There's also the Agar, the Freezing Flames, Invasion of Kaladesh, but both of these cards are just medium. They're good in the blue-red decks, but not something I'm going to go in for. Here I think we're just going to take Unseal the Necropolis. I've been pretty impressed by this card in the early stages of the format. Now we're just going to take the Nezumi Informant. Worth noting that the green-black card was taken. Definitely some consideration to the land here, but with the Informant and the Merciless repurposing, I think that given how well it works with Zamona and Dina as well, I think I'm leaning towards black being one of our primary colours. Now we get an Expedition Lookout, which is just a speculative pick, but this can work quite well in the blue-black decks if you have a lot of mill and if you want to flip battles. Here it's a pick between the tap land and the Ica Drinker. I think we just take the tap land here. We don't have any red cards yet. It certainly could be right to take the tap land there. But Ica Drinker works really well with Zamona and Dina, and that's my reasoning there for taking that. Well, now we have Lurrus, Phyrexian Gargantua. Lurrus is just fine to take as just a playable in a deck. We don't need to have the companion ability in order for this to be good. Lurrus is just going to be a 3/2 lifelink for 3 mana, and we're going to get to recast Nezumi Informants to sacrifice them again, recast Itsuko, Ica Drinker, and any other 2-drops that we pick up, we can recast them. Certainly happy to pick this up. There is some consideration here to taking Captive Weird. This card is really strong, very efficient, good blocker in the early game, convokes, and also can then flip and draw a card. There's also the Gargantua, the tap land. Given that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards we'd likely play, I'm hoping to wheel something from this pack, but for now we're just going to pick Lurrus. And it looks to me as though we're likely to be playing blue-black at this point as opposed to green. We haven't seen a lot of green outside of the Hunger, which was our second pick, and the Invasion of Muruganda, which I'm not sure is amazing. And now we have a pick between Ozolith the Shattered Spine. I haven't seen a ton of green outside of this. This card is definitely strong and very solid, but I think for our deck, we want the Invasion of Ulgrotha. We're definitely black at this point. It's guaranteed going to get played in our deck. And given we have Tetsuko, we may be able to flip this and get the backside of it as well. So certainly happy with that one there. And now Halo Forager just sort of solidifies us in blue-black. There's also Timorit, but Halo Forager is just able to cast the best spell in either your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard. And it's also just a 3/1 fly for 3, which can help you flip battles. Very efficient. Just a fantastic card. A great reason to be in blue and black. So now we pick up another super solid card, pick 4 in Deadly Derision. The ability to deal with anything for 4 mana, get a treasure token, fix our curve, and potentially allow you to play a 6-drop on turn 5. Super solid card. There's also the dual land here, which I would love to wheel in order to help splash the Zamona and Dina, but we're not taking it over the Merciless repurposing. And now it's a very late Marshall, but we're stoked here to see another Halo Forager pick 5. So now we're just looking, I think, to be quite an aggressive blue-black deck, or potentially we can, pivot into a blue-black control deck as well. But we've got enough early game at the moment with the Tetsuko. These Halo Foragers, it makes them unblockable as well, which is a super sweet interaction. So we can certainly look to be quite an aggressive deck here. One card, there's not really much for us in this pack. There is an Overgrown Pest, but I think at this point we're pretty solidified into blue here. We could take Annihilate Essence. I think this card is fine. I actually am going to take the Overgrown Pest here. We have Inga Rune Eyes, Tetsuko, and Fara's Dispersal. It is likely we're going to be blue-black, but there's a small chance that we pivot into green here and take and then splash, the Halo Forager, the Dispersal, and the Zimone and Dina as well. Now it's a pick between Nezumi Freewheeler, which is a solid card, and the Rat Informant. I think here I'm actually going to take the Rat over the Freewheeler. With Tetsuko, with Luris, with Zimone and Dina, this is just a cheap body to sacrifice. We're happy to play it, discard a card, and then use it to sacrifice it to Zimone and Dina as well. Now I think we take Eyes of Gataxius. I'm not seeing much green. There is the green-red battle, but certainly not the place for us in this deck. I've been really impressed with Eyes. The ability to play it on turn 3 and efficiently use your mana, or just play it on turn 5 and effectively have it be a 3-3 draw a card is very strong. So certainly happy to pick that one up here. Now it's a choice between Meeting of the Minds and Vanquish the Weak. We have 3 removal spells here, but I think I'm going to take Meeting of the Minds actually. Given we have 3 Informants, the Ikadrinka, the Tetsuko, it's very likely we're going to have cheap creatures for Convoke. Now I'm just going to take another Expedition Lookout. If we get an invasion of Amonkhet late, then we're certainly going to look to play these, but at the moment I think they're probably on the out. Now we can take the Tangled Skyline. Well, I don't think we're going to splash that, but it is a very strong card. Potentially, if we pick up a lot of fixing, we might splash that as well as Zimone and Dina. Just the fact that it's a 5/5 and you gain 5 life and it gives all your Phyrexians reach is very, very powerful. I mean, it certainly stabilizes the board, and if you can play it on turn 5, it's fine. It doesn't affect the board then, but it gives you the life to then untap, pay 2 mana to flip the creature and play a 4-cost spell. Now I'm just going to take Marshal of Zalfir. I think it's very unlikely we would play that, but it's just the best card in the pack, and if we open something ridiculous in white, there is a small chance. And now we open up a fantastic rare for our deck in Rona, Herald of Invasion. This card's absurd. We can tap it. It's a looter, and every time you cast a legendary creature, you can untap it, and then eventually you can transform this into a 5/5 trample, and whenever anything deals damage to it, you exile a card from your opponent's hand at random. You can put it onto the battlefield if it's land, or you can just cast the spell for no mana. Absurd card. Fantastic pickup here and open. There's a Dispersal as well, which we'd love to wheel. We would be very happy to wheel the Gloomfang Mauler and play it for a little bit of fixing. But we're certainly solidified in blue-black here. I think there's a small chance that we splash the green, but it's not a super high splash at this point given we don't have any fixing. So now we have, there's Omnath, but this certainly isn't the deck for Omnath. There's Rona, Sheldred's Faithful. I don't think this card is particularly good for the mana requirements, even though we are blue-black. It's just awkward. It's very rare you cast it on turn 4, and it's just a 3/4 that makes them lose life when you cast instants and sorceries. I think for us here, the pick's going to be Corruption of Tawashi. Similar to the Tangled Skyline, this card just allows you, every time you flip something, whether it's an Incubate token or a Transform card or a battle, you draw a card, and it also is a 4/4. So for 7 mana, you get a 4/4 and you draw a card, and then it makes all of your other battles and Phyrexians draw cards as well. Now we're going to slam Yorion Sky Nomad, and similar to Luris, we don't need to play this as a companion. It's just a 4/5 flyer for 5. When it enters the battlefield, we can reset our battles to get a removal spell back. We can bounce Corruption of Tawashi to get another Incubate token. We can scry 3 with Inga. We can use Halo Forage's ability again. Make them discard again with Nozumi Informant. So there's certainly a ton that we can do in our deck with Yorion. And particularly if we wheel a Halo Charge Scarab, that will be very strong combination. Now I've got the choice between a Preening Champion and a Surveyor, and also the tap land, which we're not playing white. So the choice is really, do we want the Skittering Surveyor or in order to splash Zamon and Dina, or do we just want to take the Preening Champion here? We don't have a ton of Convoke outside of Meeting of the Minds. Preening Champion is just so good. I think honestly our blue-black deck here is looking strong enough that Preening Champion is going to help us flip our battle. Skittering Surveyor is great. I love Surveyor, but I don't think we can take it there over the best blue common in the set. And now we're just going to slam a third companion card to play in our main deck, Imori the Collector. I mean, it's just a 4/5 for 4 and makes all of our creatures cost 1 less, or if we like, we can make all of our spells cost 1 less to help us cast Merciless Repurposing, or we can potentially make our enchantments cost 1 less to play this for 4 mana and then flip it for 2. Just a great card on rate, and we don't need to companion it for it to be good. Now we have a Halo Charge Scarab or the green-blue duel. I think we can safely cut all of these cards. I think there's potential that we play the Necropolis, but I don't think we're playing the Lookouts. I think here our 5 slot is already quite stacked. I'm just going to take the dual land. It's potential that we pick up one more duel, that the splash for Zamon and Dina is quite easy, and in that case I would like to do it. Now we can take the Forest Cycler. We're not going to play it, but there's nothing else in this pack that we're going to play, and we're just, on the off chance we decide we want to. So now we can take the 4th Nozumi Informant, we can take Temporal Cleansing, but I'm just going to take the Jungle Hollow here. It gives us 2 free green sources for Dina, and then we can also play 1 forest, given we have the Dismal Backwater, and still have a good mana base with 3 sources for it. And we have the Looter, we have Ingarunas, we have Dispersal with Surveil, and Meeting of the Minds to dig for our sources, or for Zamon and Dina. Here I'm just going to take Annihilate Essence. I think it's unlikely that we play it, but happy to pick that one up. And now I'm just going to take Rona, Sheldon's Faithful, straight in the sideboard. We're not going to play that. Halo Charge Scarab, wheeled here, and this is the perfect card, I think, to round out our deck if we don't get anything else on the wheel. Another Invasion of Muruganda. There's a Flitting Gorilla. I'm just going to take... there's a small chance we play this. I don't think we will. I think I'm happy with the deck as is. There is a small chance. Now, there's also a small chance that we play this Shapecraft. Given that we have 3 1/1s, 4 1/1s with the Ica Drinker, we're potentially going to be pretty happy to just get in the early game. I think there's a chance that we play that, although I do think it will likely be the card that we cut. So now we just have to cut 1 card. We could cut Inga, but I think the Scry 3 is quite good, and the ability for you to just jam with it, or if you're in a tough, it can actually make attacking quite difficult for the opponent, because if we have our 1/1s in play and Inga, and they attack with more than 2 creatures, it could be very easy to set up a situation in which Inga dies with 2 other creatures, and then also Yorion can flip the Inga, flicker the Inga in order to allow us to scry 3 again. I think here I am just going to cut the Shapecraft. I don't love the deck, the card, and it's not really flowing into what we want to be doing, which is just flickering for value. Although it may be that the Corruption of Tawashi is the card we want to cut, and we actually do want the additional interaction here, given we just have Deadly Derision and Merciless Repurposing, as well as Dispersal for interaction. Yeah, I think actually for the Tawashi we have the Repurposing, we have the Eyes of Gataxius, and then other than that, we have Rona and Ica Drinker, there's not a whole lot to trigger this. It is a little bit clunky. It's really good if you get it going, but I think I'm actually interested to play with the Shapecraft and see what it's like. So this will be the deck. We just have to have a look at our lands now. Yeah, I think one forest is correct. And then in terms of whether we want more black or blue, we have 13 of each. I think we need more blue early and we need more black in the late game. Apart from Lurrus, but Lurrus you want to play on more like on turn 5 and then immediately get something for value. So it may be that we actually want the... No, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4 double black cards. And we have 1 double blue card. So yeah, we do want the extra swamp. So that'll be our deck, and I'll see everybody for game number 1. Welcome to game number 1. We are on the play, and this is a definite keep here. We have 3 lands, we have a Muri, and we have double Informant. So we're going to disrupt their hand. If we can ever draw the green source, we'll be able to sacrifice the Informants to Nezumi. We also have a Muri for when we draw our 4th land. I love just playing these and disrupting the opponent's hands. It's never fun being on the other side when your opponent's just running out little 1/1s that are making you discard cards. Forces you to make tough decisions. Opponent discards their 6/5 and now plays Herbology Instructor, which is a card I've been really impressed with in the format so far. So now we've drawn, very lucky to draw there. We just play Zamon and Dina. No attacks. If opponent has removal for it, that's fine. But I think here, sometimes it's like you can play and try and bait out your opponent's removal spell, but they're not going to kill the Nezumi Informant. And if they don't have the removal, the upside is just so high. So now we're going to get to sacrifice another creature and draw a card here. And just start creating the value, and we can just play another land, put another land onto the battlefield. So we can put the island tapped, and now we can play the swamp, and now we can just play out Rona, play out Nezumi Informant. And then next time we can actually flip the Rona if they kill Zamon and Dina and start getting in. We can also discard our Nezumi Informant here. So opponent's got their own Tsutsuko. They're going to start attacking us. So now I think we can just flip Rona. They can kill us with the Death Touch. So we can do this at any point, but it only drains them if we do it on our turn. Our other option is to let's just start by drawing an additional card. So we draw on Halo Forager. We can put the land on the battlefield. Opponent doesn't have any sorceries yet. Now our choice is, do we flip Rona or do we play a Muri? And I think we're just going to transform Rona here. Our other option is just to play a Muri. But next time we can play a Muri and Printing Champions. I'm actually just going to transform Rona here. Forces the opponent to trade their Etherblade Agent for it. And we're going to get in for 4 as well, and take a card out of their hand. So now we're going to get... now I've just got a huge threat. The fact that they haven't dealt with that. They can flip their agent and draw a card and get in here. But we're just going to keep on getting in as well. So now we play Mori. We name creature. We can play Preening Champion. And now we can just draw a card as well to put a land on, drain the opponent. For 2, we gain 2 life, get in with Rona. We're really actually putting a huge clock on them, and even though they've got the 3/3, we can actually trade a Mori for the 3/3. I think this turn to stop them from drawing cards. They also can't kill Rona with Herbology Instructor. They can't kill Zamon and Dina with Herbology Instructor. So we're set up quite well here. Invasion of Perulia, happy to see that come down. It's unlikely opponent's going to be able to flip it this turn, and if they're playing that, it means they're digging for something. It's likely they're just going to hit a land here. If they hit a double face card that affects the board, then that's pretty lucky for them. So they've gone 2 top, drawn Invasion of Rin. I'm fine to see that as well. Opponent's in a difficult situation because they need to leave creatures back here. So now, happy to trade here. They're actually, I think they're dead on board because we've got the spell, the Shapecraft here. And that's going to drain them for 2 life as well. So this will make this a 4/4. Okay, so they have their own Printing Champion. But we have... So Halo Forager isn't doing anything here. An opponent has seen enough. They understand that's game. So I'll see everyone for game number 2. Alrighty, start of game 2. We have another keep on the play. We've got all of our colours. Except this doesn't allow us to play a triple colour card. It does mean that any of the lands we draw will enable us to do that. And again, we've got the double Nezumi Informant draw. And again, I think this just makes it so disruptive for the opponent. And this card gets better in multiples. And if you have anything to sacrifice them with, it's just a very good card still. They've got the Deeproot Wayfinder, so they can return. They can fail 1 and return land cards from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So we're probably going to make them discard here and then potentially block, just to prevent them from getting the Surveil, getting a land back, and starting to ramp. The whole purpose of the Nezumi Informants is to get the card advantage on your opponent. And so allowing them to get lands and get back into the game here is not something that I'm particularly interested in doing. So now I can cast Amuri. I'm going to name Instant, as it allows us to cast Repurposing next turn and gives us a play instead of passing on 5 mana with nothing. Normally you want to name creature with Amuri, but here I think given a hand it makes sense to go the Repurposing. Opponents Forest Cycling, which is a great result for us, and also a good indicator as to why we wanted to block there. Why we wanted to chump the previous turn. So now it's likely they're just going to try and flip here. They could sacrifice. They don't have Final Flourish up, which is a good sign for us. They can't kill it with Cosmic Hunger. They could kill it if they have Cut Short, for example, and we attack. I think here we're just going to pass the turn and say go. We could play Rona, but if we pass the turn, see what they do. I'm surprised they didn't flip their token here. So now I think we just want to kill the Vat Keeper and start getting a little bit of tempo on our opponent. They could, if they play another land, they can double the number of tokens, make this a 4/4. So now they get the Sandstalker Moloch. That's very good for them. They get to look at the top 4 cards of their library, and they can reveal a permanent card. So they get Invasion of Zendikar here. We hit that. Now I think we just run out Rona, and then we say go. We don't want to attack here because they can just double block and we don't. And they get a 1/1, and we don't get to take anything particularly strong out. And additionally, they've got the Invasion and are hitting their land drops now. And we don't want them to flip this and get a 4/4 Vigilance Haste that can tap to add mana. And next turn, we're just going to flip Rona and start attacking them with a 5/5 Trample that's very difficult to block. Unsealing the Necropolis is fine here, but this turn, I'm just going to flip Rona and hold the Necropolis for now. And now we're just going to start beating down. Super tough to block this, because on the backside, if they deal damage to it, we get to exile a card from their hand at random, and we play the land, and they're going to kill Rona here. So now, that's fine. We've still got strong blockers. We have the Unseal the Necropolis as well, so we can just cast that. And now we're going to take, I think we want to take Rona and Inga here. Yeah, we just cast Rona. And again, we're just going to, I think we can play one land here. Just keeps us open. Next turn, we've got to defend the battles. We're just going to flip Rona again. They need to have another removal spell for Rona. And if it's sorcery speed, they need to have it this turn. Otherwise, we're going to hit them for 5 again. Although it is potentially fine to allow us to hit them for 5. And okay, so now Tandem Takedown. On the Omori is interesting. So opponents build up a little bit of a board here. If they attack here, I think we just trade for the Sandstalker Moloch. And we chump the 4/4. We don't want them flipping the battle. And now I think they've got the Surveil token as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what we draw here. So now we can actually tap Rona to loot. We could flip Rona. But then if they have a removal spell for Rona, they're going to deal... They're going to be able to deal 4 damage. They're going to be able to flip this battle. And they can't quite flip the other battle. So we kind of want to hit... If we just play Rona, then they're going to get... We're going to kill a creature, take a card out of their hand. But if they manage to kill the Rona, we're in a bit of trouble. And we can loot twice, given we have Inga. And 2 lands in hand. So discard that. And now we have Merciless Repurposing as well. Eyes of Gataxius. And they have Tandem Takedown for the Halo Forager. But we don't have quite enough mana to play both and untap. So here I think we can just play Inga. And see what we draw here. We can always play the Halo Forager as just a blocker to prevent them from flipping their battles. And now, pretty happy with Halo, Charge Scarp and these cards. So, I think we just go ahead and leave it like this. Although, we actually probably should have left the Forager on top. We can always use Rona next turn. So now our choice is, do we want to... So yeah, we can double block the Deep Root Wayfinder if they just attack with that. If they attack with all 3, we could block and kill this, block this and not take any damage. But they are going to get to... We would have to chump here. So I think here we actually... It's potentially worth just running out the Forager as a blocker. We're going to get another one next turn. And we just don't want them flipping these battles. And I'm actually happy to trade here. And now next turn, you know, we just don't want them flipping their battles, getting the extra creatures, especially this 5/5. This Invasion of Law, when it becomes a creature equal, with power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. So we really just don't want them flipping any battles here. With Rona and Halo Charge Scarb and the other Halo Forager, we've got enough card advantage. Ooh, and Vorinclex, wow. It's a very strong one. Trample and Reach, they're going to get 2 forest cards. Very likely to play this here. That's fine, actually. So they get 2 forest cards. We're going to untap. And we're going to use Rona to draw our Halo Forager here. Discard the land. Now, we have Merciless Repurposing for 6, but we can't cast that. We only have 7 mana. Eyes of Gataxius, not going to do it. And then we have Tandem Takedown in the opponents. So we're going to do this for 3. So Tandem... And put it on these 2. Kill Vorinclex. We don't have any attacks. And now opponent's in a situation as well where if they're attacking, Inga can ensure we can ensure 3 or more creatures die and get to draw 3. So that will counter off any benefit they get of flipping here because we're going to draw 3. We're going to be able to play Halo Charge Scarb in order to get back our Merciless Repurposing to exile whichever one of these they manage to flip. A bit of a tough spot for the opponent. We've still got the threat here of flipping our Rona. So I think I like this position for us probably a little bit more than opponent. It is a bit scary with them having 2 battles, but knowing we've got the Scarb and can get the repurposing back, I think, you know, I sort of favour us in this situation. But certainly if opponent has another card like Vorinclex, we're in a bit of trouble. And Vorinclex's backside is insane if you haven't seen it. They mill 10 cards, you put up to 2 creature cards from among the mill cards onto the battlefield. Then you get 7+1/+1 counters, and then all of your creatures can fight target creatures. And then you also get Vorinclex back. And it doesn't have any requirements to flip it, just 8 mana. So now opponent is attacking the battle. We can chump. We can trade our creatures here, but I actually think that the flyers are just more important than them having this, especially since we're going to get to play Halo Charge Scarb here and get our removal spell back. So I'm actually not going to block here. They can flip the battle. They get to get a land back, which is fine, which is irrelevant now. Other than obviously this thing being an absolute huge creature. So Ikadrinka, that's a good one actually. Because we can just chump this turn. So we'll get back our Merciless Repurposing. Play Ikadrinka. No attacks. End turn. There's actually an argument there we maybe should have held the Ikadrinka so that if they had any mill we could pitch it to draw the Merciless Repurposing. I think that's potentially correct. They've already shown us 1 Seal the Uncropolis, but this is going to save us 10 life and we will be able to just chump this turn. But it also potentially gets us another draw step, so maybe the 10 life's worth the extra card in that spot. Basically, the game plan here is to just try and stabilize until the point where we can safely flip Rona and start attacking with Rona and the Halo Foragers and really start beating our opponent down. So as expected, opponent is attacking there. See, I think there actually it does make sense to play the Ikadrinka just to protect the battle. We just don't want them getting that extra creature. Now, they don't have anything, it appears. We want to do this on... We don't want to cast that. We want to do this on their upkeep. That's just so that if they have any protective spells, they have to use their mana on their turn. We do it before their draw step, so they can't draw anything there. And now they draw. So now we're in a good spot. They have to sacrifice things in order to get damage through, and if they attack with everyone... Wow, okay. So Ferger is sweet here. Ferger's a 2/4 flying lifelink. Whenever you cast a second spell each turn, you basically anticipate. So they've clearly been holding that one in their hand. Now they're going to put one in their hand. If we draw, we're going to be able to flip Rona as well and start attacking here. So to get the cards out of their hand and put the pressure on them. We do need to draw something for the Ferger. Meeting of the Minds is another really solid one here, but we're going to transform Rona. And we're going to pay the Phyrexian Life so that we can flip our Incubate token and then have enough to Convoke on end step. And now we could actually hold back here. Yeah, I think it's sort of awkward because we want to start attacking and putting the pressure on them, but they are going to have a pretty good swing against us. So I think we're just going to hold back our attack here. Again, with Meeting of the Minds, I mean, it's potential that they can keep double spelling with Furja here and going off, but it is going to require them to have drawn 2 spells in 2 cards, and I think it's likely, you know, with how many cards they've drawn, they have a land in hand. Wow, so Kenrith the Return King, another insane one. It's to put target creature card from any graveyard, so they can go and get their Vorinclex back. That's a massive problem for us. So yeah, they should just go get Vorinclex back here at this point, and maybe we should have been more aggressive based on that. That deck is really sweet. I mean, green-black with Vorinclex, Kenrith, Furja, Splash, the Furja Splash. This is a card I've seen go really late. I think it's actually a very strong card in the right control deck that can, you know, maximize. Obviously, the stats being a 2/4 for 5 aren't great, but all of the abilities, flying and lifelink, it's a good defensive creature, and then the fact that every second spell you cast becomes Anticipate is just absurd. So they're going to go to attacks here. I don't think they're going to have any attacks. We can flip this, draw 2, so we're going to draw 3 here. Lands are not going to help. So all lands, I think we really just need Rona to start trying to get in. I mean, I don't know how we're going to win this game. Potentially the only way is, you know, if they flip Vorinclex, they don't get flyers. We hit a flyer somehow and manage to get in for some damage through the air. So, bit unlikely to win. I think they're probably, you know, Kenrith was the card that really put us over the edge. I think we could have beaten everything else here, but being able to recur the Vorinclex, their Praetor, is just pretty insane. So this is a very, very complex, long game. Potentially we should have got a little bit more aggressive there and not maybe worried about this 4/4. And let them actually flip it. That's part of the joy of this set, is that wow, so they're just getting in here. Okay, so they can put 1/1 counters on all their target creatures. So they've got 6, 10. They're hitting us for 10, 18, 21, and Kenrith can put 1/1 counters on all their creatures. So, and give them trample and haste. So here I think we just want to eat as many of these. Ah, man, and we forgot to flip the battle here. So now we need to make sure we're maximizing blocks. So 3. They can't give anyone trample. So they can give 6 +1/+1 counters here. So 3, 5, 7, 9, 19. So we do need to block here. And trade, I think, for these. There's potential we want to try. So if we keep one of these back, they got 5, 7, 13. 5, 7, 13. See, I think we actually do want to just keep one back. We're going to have lethal if we'll be able to kill if we can remove the Kenrith. So I think this is how we block. Definitely should have blocked, flipped the Incubator. Token there to save the Halo Forager, force him to kill Obliterator and give us a potential, you know, profitable exchange there. This is the thing with this format, it's exceptionally tough to play. And so now, you know, I think they're probably not going, they're probably going to put, if they're smart, they'll save 5 mana to put a creature back. Not sure what our outs to draw here are. Don't know if we have many. So yeah, they've kept Kenrith back in order to put creature cards back on the graveyard. So we're in a spot of bother here. We've got 10 power and toughness on the battlefield, but it's going to be very, very tough. I don't know what card we could draw in our deck to win from here. I think the biggest thing in this game was potentially the fact that this is instant speed is just insane. And that is probably going to do it here. We don't really have a way to win from here. I think, you know, that they can gain life as well off Kenrith. I mean, Kenrith is just a bastard card. Let's just see if they somehow, for some reason, block. But Kenrith can put counters on himself. Yeah, this game's done. I mean, they can flip Vorinclex. They can get Timberland Ancient back. Yeah, good game to opponent. That deck was sweet. Kenrith, Vorinclex, two very strong mythics. I will see everyone for game number 3. Alrighty, back for game number 3 with another keep here. We've got Lurrus. We've got all of our colours. We've got Printing Champion. We can cast everything except for the Yorion at this point. So this hand's sweet. Deadly Derision. Another awesome draw. Haven't seen this one much, actually. It's really just super solid removal. I think it's definitely the best black common, but the fact that you get a treasure token, you can kill, you know, planeswalkers as well. Very strong card. I think here we're probably going to run out Printing Champion. And then they're probably going to flip this now, which is, this card is just absurd. I actually saw in Newmont the Nummy draft where he wheeled one of these cards, and that's just absurd and should basically never happen. The fact that it has Ward 2 just makes it so difficult to deal with, because now we're in a situation where we can't block here, because if they have any instant spell, the double prowess triggers. And then our Deadly Derision, it's just really hard to kill it because we have to pay 6 mana for this. So, and it has Trample, so we can't even chump block it. So we have to just take 5 here. And we really just have to hope that opponent doesn't have much more gas. But looks like they're going to have a lot more gas. So now we can just play the tap land and play Lurrus. And we'll be saying go. And then next turn we can play Yorion, bounce the Printing Champion to get, although we're probably going to have to trade a Printing Champion here. But Yorion at least can force them to have a creature, a non-creature spell for prowess in order to get through. Wow, okay, this is a sweet draw from the opponent. They're really getting in here. We're going to trade. So this situation is actually okay because we can flicker these here with Yorion. So we get a 1/1 back. We're at 6. We get another. We've got a 4/5 flyer. So if opponent doesn't have any more spells, we could be fine, but they're very likely to have more spells. This card is really quite good, I think, in the blue-red tempo decks, especially if you've got a lot of spell spears. So in this game, you know, we're really punished for not having an early response to this. If, you know, flipping this into open mana is pretty risky. So that's a really good sign for us. The fact that they flipped that, we can now, I think we just need to just kill the Spellstalker while they don't have any mana. We just pay that. And now next turn we're set up. No attacks here. We're probably going to kill this invader at some point when we turn the corner, but wow, they've got us down to 2. Hopefully they don't have anything here that does 2 to the face. We may actually need to just kill the invader to allow our Lurrus to start getting in. So here, I think that might actually be the play. We're on 2, we're awfully low. This is the flying threat. We need to start gaining life. They can trade the prankster for it before we flip it, but I think here we just nug this. And then we get in for 2. The question is, do we want to get in the air for 4? Given we're gaining some life, I think this turn we just hold back the champion, the Nomad. We can do it next turn when we have some more blockers. We're also going to play Nezumi and form it post-combat to get one of our last cards out of their hand. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. The 3 life's highly relevant. And it also gets the prankster off the field before it can transform and make us sacrifice an artifact or a creature. So, pretty relevant there. Oh, fantastic to get the Host Charger out of their hand. We would have had, that card would have basically just won them the game. We'd have a massive struggle dealing with that. But now they've got, so now they've rendered inert. They get their 4/4 prowess, and all their non-creature sources deal an extra 2 now. So now I've got to turn to how we're going to close this game out. So I think here we can play Tsuko, and we're just going to start getting it with the Orion. And the reason for this is, if they have anything, we can chump the Disciples. But we can also double block here with Printing Champion and the Incubated Token. Meeting the Minds is a sweet one for them. Potential that they could have held that for their turn, but I think, you know, they've probably got enough spells in their deck to trigger the Disciples here that's probably correct to just get through some gas. Oh, Invasion of Acadia is really good for them here. I've been really impressed with this card. The backside's very strong on these blue-red decks because they have a lot of card draw, and I think they end up with a lot of additional lands. So being able to pitch the lands for 2/1/1s and also give them +1/+0 in haste, all your flyers +1/+0, which is very strong. Now there is going to be consideration here if they attack to chumping, because they've already prowessed once. We're probably going to get blown out if we double block. If we triple block, we reward them. If they have any removal spell, we'll reward them. So I think here the play is actually going to be to chump this Disciples. Really, we just need to survive it until we draw a removal spell for it, or, you know, we actually manage to hit them down. There is actually some temptation here to attacking, I was going to say, with both Printing Champion and Yorion, but now they have the additional blocker. And Zamon and Dina is a really sweet draw here. So now, I think we just get in with Yorion still. Put them on a bit of a clock here. We still have the chump blocker. So now, Simone and Dina can start draining them when we draw our second card every turn. And we can sack creatures to draw cards. So, okay, Invasion of Kamigawa. They get to tap 1 creature. Now, if they have a pump spell, we're just dead to the Oculus Whelp here. They've got 1 card in hand, so it has to be a pump spell in order to get the win here. We can actually double block this Disciples as well, which might actually be the more correct play here. Who are they? They're attacking us. So they're at 9. So we can double block. Then we have to hold back Yorion. I think we just chump with Tsuko. We can sack our Printing Champion if we need to draw an extra card. Shapeshift actually allows us to draw a card here, but it also allows us to transform this to kill here. Tough spot here. Oh, we can also just attack. When we draw a second card, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So we can actually just attack opponent here. 4 in the air. They leave 1 unblocked. We draw an extra card. Yeah, I think we just go for the win here. I think it's unlikely opponent has anything So make this a 4-3. And bang. Get the win. Really close one there. That was a sweet game. Opponent had a sweet deck, but we managed to win it out with Zamona and Dina. And I will see everyone for game number 4. Alrighty, back again for game number 4. We have a sweet hand here on the play. Rona, Area's Dispersal, Eye of Gataxias, Meteor of the Mines. A lot of flexibility here. And enough card draw to hit our lands to flip Rona, as well as having the Dispersal to play a bit of defense. Ideally, we would like to have another island instead of a swamp, but you can't have it all. So now I think here we have the choice between playing Dispersal and bouncing this, or we can just say go and on their end step convoke here and play Meteor of the Mines. This is fine to start with. So this has first strike, no blocks, and we'll just draw 2 here. Halo Forage is a nice one, as is Tetsuko. But here I think we really want to hit a second blue source. So we can actually loot here, given we can play Inga to untap. I think here it's very unlikely we're going to play Salfara and Shapecraft, given we're going to be on the defensive here. Now I think we just want to be as mana efficient as we can, and we also probably want to loot at the end of the turn. We'll just cast Runa, and now we have pretty sweet ones here. The question is, we definitely want the island next turn, as it will give us the flexibility of being able to, play Eye of Gataxias and Dispersal, or Tetsuko and Dispersal. And we won't be able to cast Yorion. The question is just, do we want Yorion before the repurposing? And I think here we're actually going to want the repurposing before the Yorion. Additionally, we can use Rona to just draw it earlier if we need it. The reason for that is Yorion is going to come down and flicker, but we're not going to be able to play it until turn 6, and I'd rather, if they've played a big threat, have the unconditional removal spell to be able to bounce it, or to be able to kill it, sorry. So here, their knight's going to have first strike. Wow, they've got off to a strong start here. So they're going to hit us for 8 here. We could double block here and just take out the 3-1. I think that's what we're going to do as well. And that's also because the aerial boost would blow us out here actually. So I think we're probably going to be better off double blocking next turn as opposed to this turn, because we'll have the Dispersal up. So here I think we can take the hit down to 9, and next turn, so here as well, I think we can just draw. We're not going to cast Tetsuko, so we can ditch that, play the island, and now I think we just want to play Eyes of Gataxias. It just threatens us having that as well. And we can also, now we hold up Dispersal. And next turn we're going to be able to Merciless Repurposing or Yorion, depending on what we want to do. We can also play Halo Forager and replay the bounce. Now, if they flip this, for example, and swing out, we can seal from existence. They're probably going to take out Inga here. That's fine. Now we can go. They go to attacks. We have a good block here. We can trade one here. So our options are to double trade here and hold Dispersal, or to trade one and bounce. So I think, given we probably want to see what we're going to draw, actually, come to think of it, it was probably correct to just play Yorion last turn as opposed to this to consolidate, but they did have the removal spell, so I think here it's possible they have the aerial boost, which means we potentially get a little bit blown out by the single block, because then they kill Rona, we bounce one, they still have 2 threats on the board, and so I think I'm going to prefer just going the transform here and double blocking so that we're at least guaranteed to take out 1 creature here. I'm just going to loot as well. Unseal the Necropolis, I think can just go in the bin. We've got Halo Forager to get it back if we need it. Okay, so now, oh, Nezumi was a good draw there. So now we can, I think we just want to play the rat here, make them discard a card, and then we can play the Forager for the additional block up and hold up Dispersal. It might seem like we're doing a bit too much here, given, you know, playing out this card and not taking advantage of the ability, but we can flicker it with Yorion as well, so it's somewhat fine. And I think really here we've got, you know, they have to discard a card, one of their last 2 cards, and then we get to bounce and then potentially make them discard again with Yorion. And also the 1/1 is just a good body to block either of these. They have to flip this in order to attack, and then if they do, we can bounce it and really punish them for tempo. So, got the Lancer out of their hand, happy with that. Play the Swamp, and then, wow, got to be really careful with the way Arena wants you to tap. It doesn't recognize there that Dispersal is going to cost 1, so tried to tap us out of the blue source there, which is really important. Opponent's probably going to flip the Order of the Mirror here. We're just going to bounce it when it attacks, and we get to Surveil, and this is why this card is just so ridiculously strong. I mean, 1 mana to do that is just nuts. So we can bin here the land. We're going to keep the invasion, and this battle is so good with the Yorion. So now we can play Invasion of Ulgrotha, hit them for 3 there, attack them, and then next turn they're going to play that creature. We're going to Yorion, flip all of this, flip the battle. Potentially we'll get to cast one of these spells as well, but probably not going to be able to with the mana unless in this situation. So yeah, so now we can just play the land, play Yorion here, and now we will exile all of these. Actually, probably didn't want to exile the 3/1. That was not good. So deal 3 here. What do they have? They don't have anything. We can pay 2 here actually to draw a card. So we draw a card off that. Printing Champion. This probably was better to flip there. We can almost flip the Ulgrotha next turn regardless. They have to discard. We kill the Order of the Mirror. Man, Yorion is just so good. I mean, the companion restriction is tough in having 20 more cards in your starting, but this card is just a house in blue and white decks. So now they get to take a non-land card. I think here doesn't really matter. We can cast this now, so we're just going to go ahead and flip the battle, nug them for 3. If they have something here to take out Yorion, that's fine. I think it's likely they do have that aerial boost spell here, given that they've got 2 mana and they're getting priority here. They may have something else in this situation, but I think it's worth, you know, presuming they don't have something. And if they want to use a spell to kill Nezumi Informant, but they can't kill the Yorion, that's fine. We're going to get the 3 points of damage. Going to follow up with Printing Champion as well and hold up Merciless Repurposing. This card is, I think, more of a constructed card. You know, it's quite an easy battle to flip. If you're in a very aggressive deck, I think it's probably fine. Okay, wow. So they have bounced Nezumi Informant. So we don't get to flip this, but we do get to take out the last card of their hand. They're at 1, and opponent sees the writing on the wall, and I will see you for game number 5. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 5, and on the draw, this hand is a keep. 2 lands in the Informant, as well as Yorion, Halo Forager, and the Battle, as well as Yumori. Wow, okay. So we've got Printing Champion as well. Probably got the 3 best cards in our deck to flicker with Yorion. And I was going to say if we hit a land, we should be on here. We just need 1 more black source for the Mori, which will make, you know, the creature cost 1 less, or we can make the battle cost 1 less if we need to. Nug them for a mountain. Opponent did take a mulligan as well on the play, and taking a mulligan into Nezumi Informant is really tough, especially when you're playing cards like Marauding Dreadship here. So we're going to hold back. We're actually going to get in with the Informant. We've got the other 1/1 now to block Marauding Dreadship. We can trade with the Incubate token if we need to, but opponent here, I think it's going to be difficult for them to get in. So we haven't drawn the land, but we're going to start by just attacking with Printing Champion here. We don't want to attack with the 1/1s and walk into this. Play another Informant to take out another card from their hand here. Puts opponent in a pretty tough situation. Would be sweet if we had managed to curve out, because we would have gone, you know, Nezumi Informant into Printing Champion, into Informant, into Yorion, flick all of this, make them discard 4 cards. Just very good. So they've discarded a Volcanic Spite, killed our Printing Champion, and then flipping their Incubate token. All of this is fine. They're down to 2 cards in hand. We've still got 2 removal spells in Yorion, so in a pretty good spot here, I think, to take this one out. I'd be pretty surprised if we managed to lose this one. So no attacks from opponent, and we don't have a second black source. So a little bit limited here in what we can do. And the choice is, do we just run out the 3/1 here? We can save it, and we can actually save it to try and get the Volcanic Spite. But I think when we've already got 2 removal spells in hand and Yorion to flicker 1 of them, I think it's actually correct here to just get the flyer on the board and start pressuring their life total while we have the advantage in terms of cards, and not, you know, minimizing the window in which they have to draw out of this situation. It can be tempting at times like this to just, you know, maximize your value, but you've got to think in this situation, do I need that extra card, or is the pressure more worthwhile? And when we're 4 cards in hand to 2 cards in opponent's hand, plus we're already sort of gumming up the board a little bit, I think it's correct here to just get the aggression, and we can bank that we're going to have the gas we need to close the game out. So we've drawn the additional Spite from opponent here. They have triple Volcanic Spite, which is pretty sweet. Not really taking advantage of it here, and we are not taking advantage of it either, because we have drawn another uncastable card in Lurrus. So really need to just draw 1 more land at this point, and the game is probably ours. I think if we do draw the land, if we've got 2 cards in hand, we'll probably just run out Yorion, because we can take the last 2 cards out. So I'm going to take 2 here, but if we, you know, if they play a big creature here, we just probably play Invasion of Ulgrotha. And wow, another uncastable card. So this is what I mean. Like, it is possible here that opponent can draw out of the situation if we just don't hit a castable card, or, you know, that's certainly one way you can do it. Urabrask is a very strong card. Luckily enough, Yorion can block that, but it will enter the battlefield tapped. So I think here we just want to probably hold this back 1 more turn. Really awkward spot here. Okay, so we've drawn the land. Now the question is just, do we want to Invasion of Ulgrotha, the 3/2 for example, and block here? Or, and that allows us, you know, to invasion and kill this, go to 15, take another 4, and then flicker. Or do we just want, and take out the 2/2? Or do we just want to Yorion now and get the last card of their hand? I think in the long run, the value from the battle killing 2 things is going to be quite high. And we can chump the Urabrask this turn. Okay, so they're going to draw and discard here. So they didn't discard. So that means the last card in their hand is valuable. Definitely going to play Yorion next turn, I think. We do really need to draw a black source at some point to be able to take out the Urabrask. And also just get our Lurrus online here. But we can start recurring the informants with chumps. But yeah, as I was saying, really important there to try and put pressure and try and close the game out, because Magic is a strange game. I've seen games where opponent has no cards in hand and you have 3, and all of a sudden they're ripping something and they're coming back and getting back in the game, blowing you out with a 2-for-1. And in this set as well, it's even more important to be able to do that to close the game, because some of the bombs are just so powerful. Like, you imagine that your opponent plays, you know, the 7-mana Atali, the Primal Conqueror, and they get a huge creature. They get the best card in your top, you know, cards in your library, and then they get the best card in their top, and all of a sudden they've played 3 spells. And so, you know, it's just an absurd swing, and unlike anything we've sort of seen before in formats. So now I think we just slam our Yorion. We're going to, you know, make them discard, kill the 3/3. And here we're just going to bounce only 1 Nezumi Informant because they only have 1 card in hand. We want 1 to be untapped because Urabrask will make our creatures enter the battlefield tapped, and we want to have a blocker for the 2/1 or the Dreadship if they attack with that. So now they've killed a Nezumi Informant. So now we're not going to flicker our Informant because they have no cards in hand. We're just going to flicker the Invasion here. And it will return at our end step. So no attacks. Invasion comes back. We take out the 3/3. We can take 1 more hit from Urabrask and keep our 1/1 blocker. And then now Yorion will be able to block Urabrask as well. You know, Urabrask does make things a bit awkward if we don't hit double black soon, because it's going to make our creatures, just going to delay us starting to get in the air with Yorion, but as soon as we can, we'll be, you know, smashing the invasion of Ulgrotha. So now they've got their 1/1. Whenever you sack a permanent, when it dies, it deals damage to any target here. So we can block that with the 1/1, but the 1/1's much more valuable on this board. I think we're just not going to block. Whenever they sack a permanent, they can put a 1/1 counter on it and it deals damage. So Dismal Backwater is a fine draw here. It gives us, it's a great draw here actually. It gives us the life, and it gives us an additional, it makes sure we can cast Deadly Derision next turn, which is huge for us. So now we get to mill 2. I think we do want Meeting of the Minds on top. We're going to be playing a little bit defensively here. We can use Convoke to cast it next turn, and as well as hold up Derision. So we've got 7 lands. We can cast Derision, cast Meeting of the Minds on their end step, and then set up to sort of take over the game and start looking to put the pressure on them the next turn. I really hope they haven't drawn anything here. Doesn't look like they have. So now we just say go. No attacks from us on this turn. We will kill the Urabrask at their end step if they don't have anything. Perhaps we'll see what they we draw first with Meeting of the Minds before we commit to killing it. But we do have the Exile spell as well, so now we just cast Meeting of the Minds using Convoke. They're all great draws. Now we can pretty safely, with the Halo Forager in hand, kill Urabrask. This just means now we can start playing creatures out untapped, which means I'm happy to start attacking here and killing the battle. That's a good one. So now I think we run out Lurrus, because Lurrus will allow us to get one of the cards in their hand by playing an Informant. And then we can attack with Yorion as well. Here. So we get one of the cards in their hand. Wow, so we've got Merciless Repurposing. So whatever card is in their hand is clearly pretty absurd if they're exiling that. So that means I want to start putting the pressure on here. and taking out the battle. So we just need to do one more damage to it. I could play the Ica Drinker here, but I think it's worth keeping this on the instance we get Zimone and Dina, and we can cast our 7 mana card. So they've got, Invasion of Eldraine. Wow, that's a good one. So here I think we actually ditch Amori over the Halo Forager, because the Forager we can use to cast Deadly Derision. It's probably more valuable than the 4/5 here at this point in the game. So there's Ica Drinker. Now I think we can start really getting in here. I think with starting off, I think we want to just start bashing them with at least one of these. If we're going to flip the battle this turn, they can, trade here, and that's fine, because we can just recast it with Lurrus and make them discard, so they're not very unlikely to trade there. And it's potential we should have actually just attacked with both of these, and even maybe attack the battle with it to incentivize them to kill it, and then we get to replay it. But now I'm just going to incubate this. I think the token's more relevant here. We're going to hold the land in case they have another discard 1 spell. Not sure what opponent has. It could be Chandra. Not 100% sure. So we've got 8, 9. So we can actually cast their Merciless Repurposing out of their graveyard as well. So okay, so now it's our turn. We've got Tsutsuko. Tsutsuko's a sweet one here because it makes these 1/1s unblockable. So now we can really start getting in here. We're going to hit them for 9. They're dead on board next turn. We should have flipped our Incubate token there. But that's fine. I think actually, you know what, in this situation when you're this far ahead on board, it can be tempting to flip these. But I think in the event that they have the Wrath battle, we actually don't want to flip it, because it just means that they kill that as well and we don't have any threat. So I think that here we're happy to just hold that there. So Etherblade Agent, certainly see why they did that. This is actually a sweet little combo, the Scrounger and the Dreadship, to get to loot every turn, or rumble, because you have to discard first. Much worse than looting rumbling. So now they're dead on board. We've got 9 unblockable damage on the board. We've got Halo Forager in order to, play one of the removal spells and clear anything we need to deal with. Really unsure of what they've got here. So they're getting in with a 2/1. So they're just doing this to loot, I think. So they've discarded that. We just block. Go to damage. We gain a life. Oh, Invasion of Fiora. So they do have it. It's going to destroy all the creatures. Wow, it's a massive blowout here. So they kill everything. Kill everything. They do some damage to us here. And now we flip this. And I think we just... It's sort of awkward. We really don't want them to flip these. But even if they manage to flip it, we can kill it with the Forager. So we just pass and say go. I think potentially could have realized that they had this battle here. So we have 9, 10, 11 mana. So we can... So they're going to get to flip the battle now. The backside is when it attacks at the beginning of your upkeep. Okay, so we just get to kill this turn. And we're going to get another Incubate token here. Okay, so they've played out everything. Oh, Unseal the Necropolis is a great one, but priority number 1 is just killing my Chaser. So now... We get to take action. We pay 6. We paid the 6. We cast this. We kill Marchesa. We incubate 3. And now we can just flip this. Next turn we're going to unseal, you know, to get back Yorion and probably another Halo Forager here. No attacks. We want to hold back here. We just kill them in 2 turns. So they don't have anything, do they, that deals damage to the face? So don't know what opponent's drawn here. This is a close one. But we can actually unseal. We have 10 mana, we can unseal. And then we can get the Forager and clear a blocker. So if they, with the Collective Nightmare or the Volcanic Spite, so if they attack with anything here, we can kind of get them for the win probably. Unless it's the Marauding Dreadship, in which case if they, you know, tap one of these down, I think we'll happily trade that and not let them get the 2/2. So yeah, okay. So now we just block like that. See what they have. Harried Artisan. Okay. So we're definitely going to kill that one. So now we play Unseal. We go and get Yorion. Get Halo Forager. We play Halo Forager. And we pay 4 mana for Deadly Derision. Kill the 3/4. They have to chump here. And then they're pretty much dead on board. And that's the game. I'll see everyone for game number 6. Alrighty, on to game number 6. We've got a good starting hand here with all of our colours. We've got Tetsuko, Lurrus, Muri, and Invasion. Pretty sweet starting hand. Definitely a keeper on the draw. 3 legends in it as well, which is pretty cool. So we want to play the blue-black tap land, given we drew the forest. And this will definitely allow us to cast Tetsuko next turn if we want to. We can actually just hold the Jungle Hollow, depending on what we draw. Just getting on the board. So the fact we've drawn another untapped land there means that we can play out the non-tap lands and curve out our spells. And then if we need to, we can make this battle cheaper and play the tap land the next turn. That's a good draw. Here we're going to just run out and get in. Run out Lurrus. The next turn we can follow up with a Mori, make the battle cheaper, and potentially kill the Incubate token or the Attentive Sky Warden, depending on whether or not they have more Incubate tokens to flip. I haven't played with this card yet. I haven't really played with the black-white Phyrexian deck either, but this certainly seems powerful going Gift of Completion into Attentive Sky Warden here. So now, first of all, we're going to get in with Tetsuko. We're going to run out of Mori, and given that we have the 5th untapped land, I think we just want to name Creature because it's the majority of the cards in our deck and will allow us to potentially play Inga and another spell if we draw a 2-drop, and if we need to play Ulgrotha, we easily can. So now opponent's just bashing in the air. Tiller of Flesh is a good one. Here we have the choice. We can kill the Sky Warden here and start chipping away at Invasion of Ulgrotha. Our other option is just to play Inga. It's a bit of a... and sort of scry and set up our next draws. I think here we actually just want to play Inga and see what we draw. It's probably not that super relevant as to when we actually kill this. And Inga is going to allow us to ensure our next draws are very strong. So Halo Forager, Unseal the Necropolis, These are all good draws. We want all of these cards. The question is just in what order. Here, I think we're going to want to probably draw in the order that we're currently listed in. Actually, I think we might want the Unseal before the Forager. Although we're going to want to draw the Forager as well. We're definitely going to want to draw the Forager. So I think actually we just keep it like this. We want to get Yorion next turn. Happy with that, 3 on top. Now I can just get in with Tsuko. Next turn we'll probably use the Invasion on the 2-2, and then we'll do the trick again when we blink with Yorion and get to, you know, ping something else if we can, so we can kill the token, kill the Edge Familiar. Opponent's probably going to have a removal spell to get to incubate here with Tiller of Flesh. If they do and they get to flip one, that's fine. We have enough blockers. But they likely don't, given they didn't wait here. So now, another Tiller of Flesh. So wow, they're really setting up here. So we're going to want to play Invasion here. And we're just going to want to take out their ability to flip these for free. They're going to get to Surveil 1, but I think if they had... Potentially, if they had a removal spell, they would have done it that turn, but there's also the chance that they wouldn't have, given given they might want to step both up and then cast, say, a Deadly Derision. But if they play Deadly Derision, we're actually going to get to Halo Forager, kill one of the Tillers, and then get out 3-1, and then have Yorion up as well to blink the Forager and the Invasion and the Inga to get to Scry 3 again. Opponent's only got 2 cards in hand here. Yeah, so wow, far out. That's a lot of value there off the Merciless Repurposing. So we do have 6 land. So they're exiled there. They didn't actually... So it's a bit awkward because we could hold, you know, Inga here. If that had have killed, we could have double blocked here. Inga dies, we draw 3. So now we're going to have to say no blocks. And what we're going to do is we're just going to play Yorion here. There's no point in flickering given that attacking the battle... Oh no, actually we may as well attack our opponent for 1. Given we get to reset there. And now we can play Yorion. Flicker all of these cards. So we're going to get to Scry 3, reset our defender, and deal 3 again. We're going to kill the 3-3. They get to Surveil 1, but we get to Scry 3. And now it makes our attacks a little bit more awkward here. So now I think we're going to take the Eye of Gataxias, put the land on the bottom. Now next turn we can cast Eye, draw a card, we can unseal the Necropolis and start to set up something with Halo Forager here. In order to be able to use their Merciless Repurposing if we get enough lands, or our own spell, potentially another Eyes. Dreg Recycle is a good one. Opponent doesn't really have any great attacks here because we can actually get Inga to die. And as long as we maintain that, it's going to be tough for the opponent to sort of get in here without giving us an absurd amount of value. So now the first thing we're going to do is flip our battle. So we get in, flip the battle, which is massive. Now we can cast Eyes, Gataxias, and I think then we just say go. Now we can, you know, flip our Incubate token to create another blocker. We can block with Lurrus, Inga, and the token. And if we desperately need to, we can block with the Grandmother. But this thing's going to grow huge whenever, if they're attacking it with all of their creatures. Okay, so they have another... Wow, they have another one of those. That's super strong. So opponent has just an insane amount of value on the board. We are going to need to start attacking them in the air to kill them. So opponent probably has to start getting aggressive here, given we've got a pretty significant clock. So now we can do this. I think here, it's if 3 or more creatures died this turn. So we want Inga to die. We want to eat their creatures here. So I think we want to eat this one. We want to trade Lurrus for the 3/2. So Lurrus will die, the 3/3 won't die, Inga will die, and this will die. So 3 more creatures die this turn. We're going to draw 3 cards. We only go down to 13 here. An opponent, so they get to surveil a bunch. We get to... So Halo Charge Scarb's a good one, because we can put something back on top here. We've also got Double Forager. So the question is, we want to draw a card off of this. I think we just want to start hitting land. So I actually think we do just want to draw a card here. We're going to have a lot of plays on our next few turns. So Dispersal's a ripping draw here. So we have 8 land. So we can cast Forager and hold up Dispersal. We can cast Charge. Yeah, so we can cast Forager to play another Eyes and hold up Dispersal here. And then just attack with the Orion. But that means we can't flip the token, whereas our other option is to just play Halo Charge Scarb. And I don't actually know if we want to put anything on top. But if we do, we at least have the option of unsealing the Necropolis. It's also a good blocker that kills anything. I think I like this line better. Play the Scarb. We mill 2. And now I think we want to... I think we actually want to put Meteor of the Mines on top. Given we're going to have so many blockers, it's basically free. So we're going to have enough cards to play next turn. Although actually I just realized if we cast this, we won't. If we cast Unseal, then it'll put it back in. So potentially shouldn't have done that. So it's just extremely complicated. Because now we can get Zimone and Dina and Inga back with Unseal and Necropolis. So if we don't have to use Dispersal here, we can actually just Unseal and Necropolis. So we're going to get Zimone and Dina back. Mill some lands. Do we want to get Lurrus back? Or I think we want to get Inga here. Let's go and get Inga. Zumi Rat Informant is a good one here. Because now we have 8 mana. We can just play Inga. I think we actually just play Inga and we play Zimone and Dina to set up. And see what we're going to draw when we scry. So now we want to bottom. And we're very happy to have our own repurposing here. And now we're going to play out Zimone and Dina. Now we can start going off next turn. So here they can have 7 attackers, but we have a Dispersal. I think we just want to start getting in with the Orion. The 1/3 is better on defense because it can block a 2/2 here. So we just get in with the Orion, we hold up Dispersal here, and we're going to start putting pressure on opponent ourselves because Zimone and Dina is going to start draining them as well. They're going to have to spend their whole turn flipping, spend 2 mana flipping next turn. And if they attack with everything, we can bounce the 3/3, eat a 2/4. They don't really have very great attacks here, so we're in a pretty good spot. Flyers, evasive creatures here, so I like the position we're in. We've also got Double Forager, Merciless Repurposing on top. So they're going to vanquish the weak. They're getting more and more tokens. We do need to start killing opponent here, otherwise we are going to be in trouble. So they can only flip 1 if they don't play a land, and if they play a land, we get to Nazumi's Informant, their last card, and hold up Merciless Repurposing. So okay, so Seraph of New Capena is a good one. Let's take the last card out. Start by taking the last card out of their hand. So yeah, Deadly Derision there. That's a good one to obviously get. Next turn we can actually Halo Forager, get back to use Derision, get a treasure token and hold up Dispersal. So now we can, I think we want to attack with the Orion. We do need to actually kill the opponent here. So attacking with the Orion, we've still got Dispersal, we have Repurposing, so we can say go. If they go to flip, we can actually let them through unblocked and sacrifice a bunch of tokens and then just bounce Seraph of New Capenna. And they have to do it actually when it attacks. So they will probably sacrifice one here and we get to take one out that way, which I like. These blue interactive spells, these blue decks with a lot of interaction are just so sweet in the format because there's so many mana sinks, so many risky plays, so many difficult lines that the more interaction you have, the more you can sort of blow people out and punish them. And it's really hard to keep everything in mind in the format that there is. There's so much interaction, so many removal spells. I mean, opponents got 2 repurposings, they've got a Vanquish, and they've got a Derision. So they've got a sweet deck. So they played the land. They're going to go to attacks here. So they're going to sacrifice something, and I think we're just going to repurposing in response. We could bounce here, but it's just more mana efficient, and we are going to need to deal with this permanently. And we can always Halo Forager it back as well if we need to. So now I think we just start showing them, hey, we've kind of got it here. And we will play Halo Forager for 4 and take out one of these tillers. We could do it for 6, but I think we just want to hold and potentially flip one as well. So take out the tiller. They can surveil 1, and we're going to get in with Nezumi Informant, Zuko, and Yorion to take them to 4, and then we're going to just need to crack them for 4 in one turn to get the win. And we're leaving back here 1. So we're leaving back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers plus a dispersal. So this is a fine attack. Also, Tsuko makes the Halo Forager unblockable as well. We say go. And we've got another Halo Forager to use repurposing again next turn. See, the game just goes so long. I mean, we've got 9 lands in play. Invasion of Ulgrotha here. They can deal 3 damage to any target. So that's going to take that out. We could just bounce it in response. I think it's better here to just let it die. We kill them on the counter attack if they swing out. We don't need. So if they swing here, we just eat a bunch of stuff, bounce something, bounce one of the tokens and kill them. So I think there it's probably correct to just let it die instead of replaying. Although it might have been correct to just bounce it in response. So now we flip the token. And I think we can just get in here with the unblockable team. And then we can just play Preening Champion and say go. Pretty much got the game on lock here, unless they have Sunfall. And if they have Sunfall, we at least have Forager to go and wipe out the Incubate token they get and get our own Incubate token. And that's enough for the game. Alrighty, 5-1. I'll see everybody for game number 7. Alrighty, coming in for game number 7, and we have another keep here. Super sweet hand again with Tsuko, Lurrus, and also Isaac Taxius and Unseal as well as Inga. So again, I think here we actually want to play. I think we want to play Dismal Backwater first because it will make sure we have blue and double black if we draw another land. So now opponent has. So they have Nezumi. So here we've got a couple of options actually. I think the correct option here is to actually bin the Tsuko because we can just cast it with Lurrus, whereas everything else we just lose the card. So I'm going to bin Tsuko and then we can play out Thornwood Falls. Then we can play Lurrus. Potentially we actually just play Simone and Dina next turn, play Inga the turn after, and then we play Lurrus and Satsuko on the same turn. We can start sacking Satsuko every turn to Simone and Dina as well using the Lurrus. And now that we've drawn that land, we're just going to run out Simone and Dina here. Play Inga. Make sure we can hit a land, play Lurus, play Tsutsuko, sack it, and just start going off with value. Opponent's got a sweet hand as well, sweet start with the Zoomy Informant into Printing Champion. I'm not going to be surprised here if they despair at 3-4, kill it, get a token, and attack us. But we have the Unseal and Necropolis to go and get Zamon and Dina back on, say, turn 6 and play this, play Zamon and Dina again, and set the Lurus loop up again. So now they're going to sacrifice, kill Zamon and Dina. Hopefully they don't have another 2-drop, and we can just play our Inga. No, they have Rona, Herald of Invasion. Wow. And we have our own Rona, Herald of Invasion as well. So now the question is, what do we play? We need something to kill our Rona. So we're going to slam Inga and just start looking for what we can get here. So we have Amori, we have Yorion, and we have Merciless Repurposing. However, Amori won't kill the Rona. Neither will Yorion, and the Repurposing we need the lands. So it's sort of tough here. I mean, we could also just Eyes of Gataxius. I think Yorion and Amori go on the bottom. The question will be, do we Repurposing and then play Eyes next turn and just hope we hit a land drop? It's a super tough spot here. I think we do. I think we need to be able to kill Rhino. They're very likely to flip it and just start bashing us with it. And we're at 18. They're hitting us for 7 a turn. So we just need to hope that we hit our land drops here. And wow, the fact the opponent hasn't hit a land drop there is just a huge, huge win for us. We're now going to hopefully get to just Eyes into a land here and play Rona. If we don't. Okay, so no land. No attacks. Really, I think we're just going to be seeing who draws their lands first. They're probably going to have Meeting of the Minds here. Yep, they do. They're going to draw their lands. They're going to get to flip Rona. They'll flip Rona here for sure. Puts us in a very tough spot. We really need to draw like this Furious Dispersal here so we can play Preening Champion Dispersal. So we can't block here. It's got Trample as well. Tough spot. Wow, that's just a phenomenal draw in the situation. So we can Derision this now. So we just Derision. We're not going to attack. We can't even afford to take the 1 damage from the Informant. Now next turn we can go Preening Champion and Rona, depending on what we draw. If we draw a land, we have Merciless Repurposing as well. So the main thing to do here is just not lose the game to this Preening Champion. So we're going to want to play our own one to trade with it. They've got a Skyclave Aerialist, so we do need to start taking out these flyers. So now I think we just play Preening Champion. We're going to be able to hold up Meeting of the Minds as well. So we're going to have 4 bodies here. So we can just say go. Oh, there is actually an argument here, I think, to play Rona out. Yeah, I think we do play Rona. So we play Rona. We're still going to have our 4 bodies. And so we can still cast Meeting of the Minds, and then it's going to give us an extra draw step next turn as well. So play Rona. Our opponent has their own Meeting of the Minds. Meeting of the Minds is a sick card when you can convoke end step. Like, they got to play out a spell. They then got to attack us. They got to convoke Meeting of the Minds. This turn we got to play Printing Champion, Rona, Herald of Invasion. Now we're going to draw 2 cards, and we only have 4 lands. So Convoke is just a super powerful mechanic. Really love it being in the set. And it just makes board states a lot more complicated. Like, it's very possible that the opponent has Artistic Refusal here, and they might attack us with the Champion. We block, we go to Meeting of the Minds, and then they have to decide, do I counter this? Do I play something else to the board? So many decision trees. So Invasion of Ulgrotha here. Yeah, that's... Maybe the reason to not play Rhino there is in the case that they have removal here. Wow, so they're going for Rona here. So we have to let that die. We can't Medium the Minds there. Just because we need to be able to kill the Printing Champion. Well, actually, we'll kill the Aerialist if they attack with both. And now they don't attack. So, okay. So now... Yeah, it doesn't. It means we can't cast this either. So, really probably shouldn't have played that last turn. But now we can play Lurrus. We can replay Rona. And we still have Meeting of the Minds this turn. So now we say go. And start, you know, drawing here off Lurrus. Still have Unseal. This is still a pretty close game here. I mean, us having our own Rona is huge. They can flip this turn. We can trade here and then draw a land, kill this. We'll be able to defend the invasion. It's just about what opponent has in their hand, if they have any big threats. This is the thing about the blue-black decks. There are a lot of bombs in black. A lot of cards they could have that just absolutely destroy us here. So, just got to hope we sort of get a little bit lucky. And then we just have the better card quality than the opponent. So, they're going in here. We're going to snap block. So they have Cyber Cryptomancer here. So they put the backup counter on it. We don't have any response to that. So that's the reason they only attacked with Printing Champion is... It's a pretty good attack there. We're going to get to attack with Lurrus though for free, and we're probably going to get to kill Merciless Repurposing. We're probably going to get to kill the Printing Champion as well, although now they've got Etherblade Agent as well. So now let's Convoke. Wouldn't hate drawing our own Invasion of Ulgrotha here. So now Zalfaran Shapecraft. Doesn't do a ton for us. So I think here we might just want to draw here. See what we draw. Draw a land. I think the Shapecraft is not going to be particularly good here. We want to start playing some lands out as well. So there is a possible... I think we just have to Repurposing. They have enough mana up for Artistic Refusal here that I'm just going to do it on their turn. So at the least, you know, they have to attack. The question is, do we Lurrus here? Or do we, you know, make them flip? Let them invest the mana to flip this thing. I think we hold off on the Lurrus here. And we just say go. Now on their upkeep, we're going to Repurposing the Printing Champion. Yeah, okay. So that just played around them having refusal and forces them to actually use their mana on their turn. When they have like the mana and they can do it on their turn, it's much better to make them do it on your turn. It's much better to make them do it on their turn if they do have it and stops the tempo advantage as much. So now they're flipping here. That's fine. If they choose to attack us, we can take it. If they choose to take this, it's going to take 3 turns to actually flip this thing. So I'm happy with that. The question will now be, how do we deal with that? We really need to draw one of our Halo Foragers here. Well, we need to deal with that as well. So now, I mean, we can flip Rona and put a clock back on them. We can unseal an Acropolis, which is potentially going to help us hit a Halo Forager. We can actually play, you know, all 3 of these cards here. Yeah, I think it's potentially worth doing that to try and hit the Forager. We really need to kill these Flyers. So, I mean, it's not going to happen this turn, except they have Final Flourish. Actually, so yeah, I think we do unseal the Necropolis here to get back Printing Champion as well, actually, and Zamon and Dina. So that's a bit of a win. And now the choice is, do we... Yeah, I think we play Jungle Hollow. We just want to delay them from getting to flip this, because if we don't play the flyer this turn, they're going to flip and have a third flyer. So we need to just slow that right down. And then we can say go. Actually, I think we need to start sort of getting in here a bit. They don't really have any ground attackers. If they want to spend their mana flipping this, we can just chump block it. I think we need to start putting our own clock back on them. So let's start getting in, actually. Potential we should have attacked with Aluris last turn here, but we really need to just get in here. So that's fine. Aluris has done that job. It also gains us some life, which gives us the cushion. We say go. Next turn we can actually Zemon Dina and flip Rhona Herald of Invasion. So that's a pretty good turn. Sheoldred's Faithful. It's a good blocker here, 3-4. And Blight Reaper Thallid. Another good one. Now they're going to get to create a 2-2 as well. We need to get Zemon and Dina down. They're going to get to flip this as well. Wow, so they're not attacking with... Oh, of course. They're not just going to trade. So we've still got to slow it down. That's great. One more turn of that thing not attacking. Fantastic. So now let's draw a land. We can bin that. So let's draw with Rhona. Keep binning our lands. Let's play Zemon Dina. Untap the Rhona. And now I think we're going to flip the Rhona and just attack with it. Although actually, opponent has a fair bit of damage on the board. But I think, we need to start trying to find a way to win this. And I think the only way is if we draw some removal spells, or we manage to have opponent attack in a way that we can sort of win out on, and then win out the attack and crack back. The other option is to just keep looting here and playing Nezumi Informant to get that last card. I actually don't mind that line, because we can play Informant and flip one of these and incubate again. I don't hate that line. Yeah, we're just drawing so many lands here. So now we actually want to hold the lands for Zemon and Dina, because we can put them both onto the battlefield. So they're countering Nezumi Informant here. That's fine. So what does this... If we sacrifice another creature, we draw a card. You may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. But I think it's unlikely we're going to loot again, so we just want to get many of our lands on the battlefield. Let's incubate. Let's activate this. Let's say go. No attacks from us. Opponent is going to get to flip that battle if they attack with both. We'll just see how they attack. We're going to get to flip Rhona. Start draining our opponent. And our opponent does actually have to kill us as well. So, some argument here to chumping. And stopping them from flipping this turn. But I think actually at this point it's inevitable that they're going to flip this. Oh, they'll actually Zemon and Dina. Alright, so that's a really good draw here. We can go and get... They've got Artistic Refusal, but we have our own Deadly Derision. We also have Merciless Repurposing here. So we have 8 lands. We get 9 now. So let's play the land. Let's play Halo Forager here. And we get to pay 6. We get to exile this Grandmother. Oh, and they've... Wow. Wow. So we have to pay 4 now. Yeah, so we've got to pay the 4. And then we go and... We get that Final Flourish and sacrifice a creature to kill it. So we pay 2. It's not quite as good as what we had in mind, but we do still get to kill the grandmother. So we do this kicked, take this one down, sack a creature, sack our 1/1. And now here, how many creatures have died this turn? So Invasion of Ulgroth has died. One of our tokens has died. So we can actually sack this to sack Inga. Sorry, to Inga and draw a bunch of cards here. So yeah, we get to draw 3 and then we get to draw 4 cards. So now, yeah, that's actually a sweet turn. So we get to draw a whole lot of cards. We get to put a land on the battlefield. Draw another card, put another land on the battlefield. And now next turn, we're going to have a ton of mana. So we just need to survive this turn. An opponent also has to worry about us cracking back. I mean, we're slowly going to drain them out here. We've only got 6 cards in to draw, so we do need to actually start getting in here. Would have been sweet if we had have got Setsuko onto the battlefield at some point. Which is maybe a bit of an oversight from us, given that, you know, we can actually Halo Forager here. So they're not... Yeah, I don't think you can attack there. So we're here, we'll trade Preening Champion. And then we're going to get to attack with the 3/1. We're actually clocking... We need to clock them faster than they clock us. So they've got 13 cards. Oh, that's a sweet one from them, from the opponent. But they do not know that we have another Halo Forager in hand. So Nezumi Rat Informant. Okay, so let's start by casting this for 6. So we take action. We want to do this for 6. We want to pay. Go to our graveyard. We repurposing. And we target the 3/4. And we get to get in for 3 here. Now the question is going to be, do we want to drain them here? So they're going to have 1 blocker. I actually kind of think they have to leave this guy behind here. We have 5 cards in our deck, so we can draw twice here. So if we draw this turn, we get 2 more turns to kill them. So we're going to drain. We're effectively going to drain them 3 times down to 4. We have just the... Oh, but then we can play Scarb actually, put something back on top. Yeah, okay. So I think here we actually do want to drain. Because on our last turn that we had no cards in hand, we can actually discard. We can actually play the Halo Charge Scarb in order to... Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Done it again. That was a mistake. And we also have Yorion. Oh, wow. So Yorion... What does Yorion do here? Yorion allows us to re-trigger these. Okay. So now next turn we can... Yeah, so we just pass now. Pass, they go. I'm going to flip an Incubate token. And Yorion allows us to replay the Halo Foragers and play Deadly Derision again to kill the last flying creature. So we'll see. Okay, so we activate this. We go to our turn. Now we can sack a creature here to drain them. And then we can Yorion and blink and kill them here. Or we can just... So what are our options? They've got 1 card in hand. So let's start by just Nezumi informing that last card out of their hand. Make sure they don't have anything. Or make sure we know they have complete information. Okay, so now I've got 6/10 lands. So we can Yorion, blink, kill this, hit them for 3. Then we draw 1 card, which is our Omori. And we're going to have a ton of power in the air. Yeah, I think I like this line here. So let's go ahead and sack this. Drain them. decline putting the land... Oh, we repeat the process again. Oh, no. Oh, wow. Okay. So I did not realize there that we would do that. Okay. So that certainly makes things tougher here. We've got 6 lands, 10. So we shouldn't have activated that. I thought it would only happen if we did, if we put the land card on the battlefield that it would repeat. I thought if you just drew, it wouldn't automatically repeat. So now we have to play this. We still have 5 lands in play. So, oh, I'm an idiot, actually. It deals 3 damage to any target. So we can just attack them down to 3 and then invasion will growth of them. Oh, all that thinking. So many interactions, and we still managed to just absolutely fluke our way to the victory here with Invasion of Growther. I would not be happy if I was the opponent, but that is our win number 6. Join us and we'll see if we can win the trophy in the next game. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 8, where we're going for the trophy. We are on the play, and again, we've got a very capable hand here with Nezumi Informant, Gataxius, Mori, and we've also got our favourite little spell, Afari's Dispersal. Love these little tempo decks where we're just trying to grind out advantage. And we're going to have to do it quickly because the opponent has Garuda. So they're going to have no odd mana value cards, but they're going to get to at some point put this in their hand, and then they can... Comes in at mills 4, and you put a creature card with an even mana value from among the milled cards onto the battlefield under your control. Very, very powerful card. And certainly one we don't want them to get to. So now we'll cast Eyes of Gataxius. We have no attacks there. And then we're going to have the choice next turn between Amori's Informing and Flipping, or just playing Amori the Collector, making this cost 1 mana. So that would obviously depend on what we draw. But now opponent may actually, they play the Invasion of Pyrulia. They may choose to attack with Finn the Fangbearer here and try and get in. And then in which case we can crack back at them for 4, play another Informant, and then our next turn we can play Amori and hold up Dispersal. So, some good options for us here. None of them are bad. The other option as well is, of course, we can, if they don't attack, we offer them the trade for the 3/3, and then we're up a card, we play Amori, and Amori is a much bigger body that they can't kill with our Death Toucher. And then the next turn, hopefully we will have drawn more creatures and we can play them out and play the Dispersal. Although actually next turn, sorry, even if we do flip and trade, we'll need to play the Informant there. So opponent's gone and got a Forest. Looks like they're probably going to attack here. And they might have a Pump Spell or something as well, actually. Although they can't have it for 1 mana because of Garuda. So the opponent's just getting in for 1. We're going to get back. Here, we're going to flip, go to combat, hit them for 4. We're going to start trying to put a little bit of clock on this opponent. They're going to also have to, we're disrupting them. They're having to discard cards. It's never fun being hit by Nezumi Informant twice. I'd love to draw Yorion next turn, actually, because if we draw Yorion, we can play Yorion, flip out, blink our Informants, and make them discard 2 again, which is just really powerful. So yeah, we've made them discard their 6/5 Reach Trampler. Fantastic. They play Doomscar Warrior here. They're going to back up, which, if they do that, they get to reveal, and look at the top many cards. They may reveal a creature or land card there. So I think here we just want to block. We don't want to take the damage. We don't want the battle to get down to 1. We don't want them to get a card. Oh, of course. Gives a trample. So they just get a land. That's my bad. So now, this thing has trample. This thing has death touch. So I think here we just want to start off by attacking. We need to just put the pressure on the opponent as well. We don't want them to just... We can play Amori. We're going to name creature. Say go, hold up Dispersal. We can bounce whatever they attack with. If they attack here with Doomscar Warrior, we can bounce it. I just forgot this thing had trample. If they have a way to kill Amori. Yeah, unfortunate. We shouldn't have chump blocked there. So now they've stasis fielded at Memoria the Collector. We're going to have to chump Finn the Fank Bearer and bounce the Warrior. So potential there, we maybe shouldn't have attacked with the 3-3. But we are starting to get opponent on a little bit of a clock. So you know, they are getting a little bit lower. We're going to get to bounce here and surveil too, which is massive for us. So I like Halo Forager here because we can just use it to recast Dispersal next turn. So the land can go on the graveyard. We're going to draw Dispersal. What do we have? We have Dispersal. We also have Eyes if for whatever reason we want to cast Eyes with the Informant. So now we can... This thing costs 3 mana. They're not going to want to boost that. If they boost... If they're +1/+1 this, we can kill it. If they do it onto the Finn, we're not going to be able to block it anyway. So I think we just get in, play Nezumi Informant, make them discard again. This has been a tough game. Not 100% sure what the correct lines were here, but you know, whether we should have got aggressive or whether we should have held all our creatures back. I'm just kind of worried, given our draw, we didn't have the inevitability, that maybe we needed to, you know, get on the aggression and try and out-tempo them. But they've had a pretty solid draw here with the Doomscar Warrior. The only upside is here, they can't actually play the Warrior and get Garuda for next turn. They sort of have to take a turn off from playing anything in order to do that. So if they want to go and get Garuda, yes, they're just going to play the Warrior. I'm going to put the Trample on this. They don't attack us. Okay. Wow. Yes, I think that was a mistake. Okay. So now this has Trample. We can actually just double block that. And we can bounce the... So they can give this +2/+2. So we have a choice with what we want to bounce here, because I think we want to play the Forager and go and get and bounce something, and we can play Rona next turn if we want and immediately flip it. Whereas if we just play Rona, we can't do anything else. So let's go ahead and Dispersal. The question is, what are we dispersing? So we can double block here. We can block here. We can chump, actually. So I think maybe we just force them to... The problem with keeping on bouncing the Doomscar Warrior is it keeps making their creatures bigger. The worst thing to attack this turn, I think, is the 3/3. We don't really have any good blocks for it. So if we like bounce this, we could chump here and block. Whereas, yeah, I think I'm more worried about the +1/+1 counter on this one. So let's just go ahead and bounce that. Let us surveil these. Actually, we want to keep one land on top, because that will allow us to play and flip Rona next turn. And now we will say, go opponent. And Rona is going to be a house on this board, because Rona makes it so difficult for them to attack if they can't deal with it. Because it means every time they do attack, we take damage and we force them to not only discard a card, but we get to play it at random. So it'll make things awkward for them, such as attacking with Garuda. You know, so if this turn they play the Huntmaster and they go and get Garuda in their hand, we play Rona and we attack them and we flip it, and then, you know, if they don't play the Garuda, then we can potentially get it if they attack, and if they don't, then if they do play Garuda, then we get one of their other cards, and we're all in the meantime forcing them to put a clock on us because we have Halo Forager hitting them for 3 every turn. So it'll be interesting to see what opponent does here. I wonder what this is for 4 mana. They're looking at everything. Could be Storm the Seed Core here. Temporal Cleansing. Right, so that is not a card, so. Now the question is going to be, how do we block? So we can stop the battle from flipping, if we... So what is this on the backside? It's a trample ward 4/4. This also is going to get to, they can reveal that many cards in the top of their library. So I'm thinking here, do we trade the 3/1 here? But I actually think we just need them to flip. I actually think we don't really care about this flipping. We actually care more about the clock. We do care about the Doomscar Warrior getting to reveal a card and putting it in their hand, but we get to hit them down to 7, and then we get to attack with Rona and Halo Forager, and they are put in the position where they can either die or block and play and let us get a card and kill that creature, and they're going to have to double block as well to kill, unless they block with Finn the Fangbearer. So, and the awkward thing for them is now that, you know, now that they haven't got the Garuda in their hand. Yeah, okay. So now they don't have Garuda in their hand. They can never really go and get it. So let's just play, because it'll be stuck in their hand and it's potential that we get it off the Rona. So let's go ahead and flip Rona. Attack in the air and start just getting in. Now let's see what happens here. We're still at 19. So we're not really under life total pressure here. Opponent's in an awkward position. They can play and flip the battle, the incubated token, but that doesn't stop the Halo Forager, and they really need to stop that. So that looks like the plan that they're on here. Not really a great one unless they have, say, you know, Cosmic Hunger, but we still get a card out of their hand, so interested to know what they have. Temporal Cleansing. Okay. Well, that's actually a really good one. So opponent is going to get in here. Absolutely get in. They got These have all got Trample. We have no good blocks for that. So this is a tough spot now for us. We want to save these chumps for the 5/5 and the 2/2. I think we can take 8 here. The fact that they're getting a card off this is really annoying, but we don't have a way to deal with this. So we're just going to have to keep taking the damage, I think. So now the question is, do we want to chump for 2 to save 2? I think the answer is no, because we can just do it next turn. Like, we can chump next turn. We're just going to get 2 poison. They're going to get a creature or a land in their hand. So what is on top? Well, Temporal Cleansing has done absolute work for our opponent here. Oh, and they've drawn Skyclave Aerialist as well, which is such a good card for them. So we can cast Inga now. Oh, Invasion of Ugrotha. That is a good one. So do it. I think we want to put like this. We don't want the land. Because we can set up these dying next turn. I think we just want to guarantee that we're going to... Like, if they mill anything, they're going to have a mill too. So I think we just want to make sure we have Invasion on top here. We want to get in here. Now we just got to live. We're going to set up Inga. Inga's going to be able to die, draw us 3. And then, you know, if for whatever reason they don't play the flyer this turn, which I don't think I think they will play the flyer. But there's, you know, potential that we can sneak a point of damage through. If they attack with everybody, maybe we can get in with our 1/1. We just need to deal 1 damage to them in order to make the Invasion of Ugrotha lethal. So I think it's very, very likely that they play the 2/1 and we're in a bit of trouble, but we'll see. We're also going to get to play Rona here. So Cosmic Hunger. Okay, so we're not... Yeah, they're going to play the 2/1 here, so we're in trouble. Wow, so this has... Did this have Summoning Sickness? I don't know why they didn't attack with that. So we have to just block here and here. We can't. We take 8. They should have attacked there. I don't think it's going to matter because they're just going to play Skyclave Aerialist. And we're going to go to 1 here. We're going to put them on 1. That's the only way. The only way is if for whatever reason they play something other than that, and they're not going to, so it's not going to matter. Let's just see if they let us attack for whatever reason. I think it's the only way to win. Good game. I will see everybody for the final game where we go for the trophy one last time. Let me know in the comments if you're still watching, if you would have played that game any differently, and if there were any lines that I missed that could have potentially led to us winning that game. I'd be super interested to see what everyone has to say. Thanks everyone. See you for the final match. Alrighty, welcome back for the final match, and we have another keeper with Ikadrinka, Tsuko, Halo Forager, and Eyes of the Gataxius. So, interesting there, we could actually run out Tsuko and Halo Forager as just a 3-1 unblockable flyer, but I think really we want to maximize the value that we're getting from our cards here. So, we're just going to run out the Ikadrinka, play Tsuko. We can play Eyes of Gataxius and then flip the Incubate token, set up Halo Charge Scarb as well. Opponent's not doing anything either, so Yorian's an interesting one, but I think still we just want to get in here. Play Eyes. We need to hit our second blue source for this. And now next turn we can flip here and get the 3-3 online. Especially considering they're off to a bit of a slower start. So here, I think we just run out Jungle Hollow, flip, and just get in with the squad. They can only block the 3-3. They're not going to. Now they're on 12. We're on 24 as well because of a little bit of lifelink and our tap lands. They can flip this into a 5-5. Wow, an opponent didn't even realize has hit the natural runner. They just need the mountain to close things out. They've got the plains. Disappointing. Wow, so they're backing themselves up here for the 3-4, which is good on this board. So I understand why they're doing that. We're just going to run this out and keep getting in with our unblockable creatures. Now we're going to slam the Halo Charge Scarb. Hopefully we hit. So Meeting of the Minds. Now that is a pretty good one on this board. I think, yeah, we probably do want to meet some minds. There is an argument, of course, to playing Eyes. We can always play Halo Forager and Eyes. I think that's probably what we'll do next turn. So now opponent is running. Well, so they're backing up there with the 6-6. I mean, this is I think we have to double block here. There's a chance they have. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have. There was a chance they had Aerial Boost there, but I just don't think this 4-color soup deck's going to want to be playing Aerial Boost. So that wasn't the soundest of reasoning, but it was my sort of reasoning there for not doing that. So now we play Halo Forager, and we get to run out another Eyes of the Gataxius here. So we're going to take action. We're going to pay 3. Play the Eyes. And then we're going to hold back all of our creatures just this turn so that we can cast Meeting of the Minds on that end step and start and hopefully hit that land we need to cast Yorion. So wow, they've hit the 5th land. So now this could be an invasion of the Alara deck. Timberland Ancient's a sweet one. But our Halo Forager is unblockable, so tough for them to deal with that. Let's just Meeting of the Minds now. So we don't have to click through. Invasion of Ulgroth is a good one. Deadly Derision is a fantastic one. So we can go land here. And Deadly Derision actually allows us to cast Yorion next turn. So I think we just want a Derision. Potentially the Flyer. I think we just cast Rona. We can cast Derision on their turn and still flip our thing. This does. Yeah, can't be blocked. Bang. So we get in. We're getting in. We're saying go. We're holding Derision. We're holding our little egg. Our incubator egg. Next time we can play Invasion of Ulgrotha as well. Oh wow, Gigantha. So Gigantha's cool, but they've already got all 5 mana, so I'm not super worried about that. They're gonna have to... Oh, I would have thought they would have gotten in there. I think maybe they think this thing can block, but it definitely can't. So I think we just take out... Maybe they want it for Rona here. I think we just take out the flyer here. Actually, I think we take out the Reach Trampler. Because if we start attacking now with our creatures, we actually can chump the Giganta. So now we can flip this. Pay. There actually may be an argument here. But I think we just want to get in with Yorion. Can we Yorion and play another spell? No, we'd still... Oh, we can't do that, actually, this turn. So we can flip Rona. We can kill their lifelinker. We can also just to the face them. I actually think we can also just get in with everyone. We can get in with one of these 3/3s. They're going to block it with something. We kill it with Invasion of Ulgrotha. Probably should actually loot here. Wow, I'm playing horribly. Playing and commentating is hard. Hard work. So now let's discard this. We have 7 lands. So we can play Nezumi Informant to get a card out of their hand. We're on a lot of life as well, actually. So I think here we're actually going to attack with everybody. Going to attack with the squad. Except for one of these, because we don't want to let them block both. We just want them to block one, use Invasion to kill one, and then we can blink Invasion again. So, yeah, now we get to get 5 damage in. Kill that flyer. So now we play the Invasion. Finish this bad boy off. Got the Chump Blocker. Play Yorion to get a card out of their hand. We've also got 8 lands, so we can... If we draw another land, we can play Deadly Derision as well when we blink the Halo Forager. They've got 5. So what are they doing with this? Is this the Invasion? I don't... Oh, it's Omnith Locus of All. So that's doing nothing on this board. Preening Champion. I think here we actually just have the win on board here. Because we can just get in, bash the opponent down, play Yorion, untap everybody, blink, 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 blink. But the only trigger that matters is the trigger to deal 3. This was a really, really... Oh. Decline. They discard their last card. Hidegatsu and Kuri, that's sweet. And we managed to take them out, get the trophy. That was an awesome draft. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's take one last look at the deck before we sign off here. Yeah, I really enjoyed that draft. I think we navigated it quite well into the right lane to maximize Simone and Dina. We managed to have triple companion with Luris, Umori, Yorion, and some other pretty sweet spells with the triple informant to go along with Rona, Tsuko, and some other spells to make use of it all. So let me know in the comments if you would have done anything differently, or if you would have made any plays or any draft decisions differently. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe. It does really help the channel. Thanks all.